Now at 4, we're remembering a president. Jimmy Carter lived to 100, longer than any chief executive in our history. All morning long, we'll hear from those whose lives he touched, including right here in Connecticut. And investigators overseas have found the black boxes in the wreckage of a Boeing jet that crashed and caught fire over the weekend. All but 2 people aboard were killed. We'll have the latest on that investigation.
The 5th night of Hanukkah saw a light triumph over the darkness in West Hartford. I'm Stephen Reels, and coming up, we'll take a look into this annual tradition.
All local, all morning. This is Fox 61, Connecticut's news station.
Good Monday morning, the last Monday of 2024. I'm Kaelee Collins. Thanks for being here with us on Fox 61 and Fox 61 Plus. Well, it is feeling a lot more like spring out there this morning with some warmth and a little bit of rain too, Rachel. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's been soggy over the weekend, and we're going to continue that in the forecast at least for today and at least for the morning hours today. As we approach the afternoon, I do think we're going to have those drier skies out there, but through the morning commute, expect that rain, especially if you don't have off today. Unfortunately, we'll have that out there from time to time with some pockets of heavier rain as well. We're seeing some of the heaviest rain right now over in Meriden, Wallingford, along 91 towards Durham, Cromwell this morning, dealing with some lighter rain, but most of the state is dealing with those rain showers. But you'll see as we get closer to the late morning and early afternoon, we start to dry out the skies a little bit, and then we may even get some sunshine to work into the state as we approach the late afternoon and early evening right before that sun goes down. Temperatures out there this morning are anywhere from 8 to 18 degrees warmer than this time yesterday at 55 degrees in Waterbury, 55 in Willimantic, and 54 in New Haven. There is some areas of fog this morning that you'll have to watch out for too, so we'll be watching that over the course of the morning hours. You'll see those skies dry out. Temperatures stay and hold into the 50s for most of the afternoon. So after we dry out the skies, we'll be able to at least enjoy some hours with those drier conditions and those warmer temperatures before we start to see those numbers slide. So highs today in the upper 50s, around 57 degrees in Hartford, 55 in Torrington. Unfortunately, today is not the only day that has rain. We'll have more details on that coming up. Here at 4:02 on the roadways this morning, we don't have any incidents to tell you about at this hour, so just take a look if you're heading out early to drive to the state lines this morning here. New Haven to Rhode Island is 69 minutes. New Haven to New York is under an hour. Waterbury to New York on 84 is about an hour drive. Kaelee?
All right, Rachel, thank you. Well, this morning we're looking back at the life and legacy of former President Jimmy Carter, who passed away yesterday. The peanut farmer turned politician spent the last 2 years in hospice care after doing decades of good deeds all around the world. Reactions have been pouring in all night, and this morning we've learned new details about plans to pay tribute to the 100-year-old former president. Marianne Rafferty reports.
The death of former President Jimmy Carter triggering a flood of reactions as the nation remembers the 39th and longest living U.S. president. Carter passed away Sunday at his home in Plains, Georgia. He was 100 years old.
Jimmy Carter lived a life measured not by words but by his deeds.
Saying America and the world lost a remarkable leader, President Joe Biden recounted Carter's legacy as a statesman and humanitarian.
He worked to eradicate disease not just at home but around the world. He forged peace, advanced civil rights.
President-elect Donald Trump, meanwhile, acknowledging Carter's leadership on Truth Social, writing in part, the challenges Jimmy faced as president came at a pivotal time for our country, and he did everything in his power to improve the lives of all Americans. Citing his decades of volunteer work with Habitat for Humanity, former President Bill Clinton said Jimmy Carter had, quote, worked tirelessly for a better, fairer world. Former Presidents George W. Bush and Barack Obama also fondly remembering Carter's service, as other leaders reflected on how faith was a guiding light throughout Carter's life.
Jimmy Carter said that every decision he ever made was a difficult decision. All the easy decisions had been made below him. If it rose to that level, it was a difficult decision. His faith, I think, is what carried him through and helped him to make a lot of these great decisions.
Plans to honor former President Jimmy Carter continue, with President Joe Biden having ordered an official state funeral to be held in Washington, D.C. Marianne Rafferty, Fox 61, Connecticut's news station.
Thank you, Marianne. And we've learned that state funeral for Jimmy Carter is set for January 9th, which President Biden has declared will be a national day of mourning as well. There will also be public observances in Georgia, and ultimately he will be buried in Plains, Georgia, next to his wife, Rosalind. And the former president visited Quinnipiac University back in 2007 to deliver a lecture there for the Albert Schweitzer Institute. And one professor recalls former President Carter being very warm, down to earth, and gracious.
About 700 or 800 people showed up to hear from him. He shared his experience at the White House. He later met some of the people who stayed after the meeting, and he was very gracious in meeting every single individual who wanted to talk with him, who wanted to take a picture with him. Even I was lucky enough that my wife and we were able to take a picture with him. And he asked me where I'm originally from, and when he heard that I'm from Bangladesh, he even shared some of his memories from his visit to Bangladesh back in the early 80s.
And at that event, the former president received the university's first humanitarian award. Well, Governor Ned Lamont ordered flags to be flown at half-staff all across the state, and this is also happening across the country in honor of President Carter's life and legacy. And they will remain at half-staff until January 28th. That's 30 days after Carter passed away, which is tradition after the death of an American president. Governor Lamont had this to say about Jimmy Carter, quote, President Carter's style of leadership set an example that ought to be emulated by public officials nationwide, most notably his self-effacing and kind disposition. He carried himself with grace and integrity, treated others with dignity and respect, end quote. Senator Chris Murphy also released a statement. He says, quote, few people have modeled what it means to live a life dedicated to the service of others more than President Jimmy Carter. He led with compassion, humility, and moral clarity, even when it came at a political cost, end quote. And Senator Richard Blumenthal spoke of Carter's religious devotion and kindness to all. He says, quote, while some disagreed with his political views or positions, none could doubt his sincerity and decency, his faith and humanity. He built a legacy of giving back, personifying the adage that there's no limit to the good you can do if you don't care who gets the credit, end quote. And in our next half hour, Fox 61's Brent Harden takes a closer look at Jimmy Carter's deep connections to Connecticut and even to the launch of our TV station. And for more about President Carter's life and legacy, you can head to our website, fox61.com, and our free app where you can learn about his impact and achievements. Well, fire investigators in Ellington are trying to figure out what caused a structure to catch fire. Fire crews responded to Village Street just after 7:30 on Sunday morning. When they got there, they found a building on fire and were told you could see smoke for miles. Neighbors say they heard a loud explosion, too. Fortunately, no one was hurt. Well, the Festival of Lights has 3 more nights to go, and one annual Connecticut celebration of Hanukkah drew a pretty large crowd. Fox 61's Stefan Reels takes us to West Hartford for the Fire and Ice event.
Bringing a little light to the darkness. Now, that's the message the Jewish community shared for this year's Hanukkah. And for the 5th night of this religious holiday, this dichotomy, this battle of opposites was shown in West Hartford.
Welcome to Fire on Ice.
Whether it's the crowd, the food, or the sound of fun, it's easy to tell when the Chabad House of Greater Hartford's Hanukkah Festival is back in West Hartford.
Mega celebration in the Greater Hartford area, really the largest in the state.
And a moment of Jewish pride and solidarity, which culminates with the lighting of this 8-foot ice menorah. It celebrates the miracles of the Jewish faith. Public menorahs like this have popped up since the 70s, but the one in West Hartford found its home more than 15 years ago.
2008, I believe, we started identifying that Blueback Square would be the great place, and it grew, and every year we added to it. It became very popular, and people love to come out, stand together, celebrate, and be proud, and be able to share the message of Hanukkah.
A message of light, successful triumph over darkness, of being able to celebrate proudly and support one another with the miracles we create ourselves.
The message of Hanukkah is one little action, one good deed. Just do it. Do one extra good thing and in your area of influence, and you will see how a little action can make a big difference.
This year, the first night of Hanukkah coincided with Christmas Day, actually. And the 8th and final night will be on January 2nd. In the studio, Stefan Reels, Fox 61, Connecticut's news station.
All right, thanks, Stefan, and we're glad you're with us this early Monday morning. There's much more to come. The cause of the deadliest plane crash in 3 decades remains a mystery this morning, and of 181 people on board, somehow 2 members of the flight crew survived this disaster.
Dr. Larson was in a car accident.
She can't remember the last 8 years of her life.
What's wrong?
We got divorced.
What?
I need to know what happened. A lot happened, Mom.
Now, Dr. Larson is asking questions.
I want to tell her we were together.
If I'm going to get my life back, I need the truth.
Doc, series premiere, January 7th on Fox.
So, what are we doing today?
A whole new look.
Really? You've been doing this since the 70s.
Well, NJM puts the policyholders first, and people are noticing.
Say no more.
Nah, not quite right.
Gloria?
Come to Mama.
No jingles or mascots, just great insurance. NJM.
Did you ever look at your house and think it just might be time for a change? Well, right now at National Floors Direct, we'll help you change for just $1,088. We'll give you 3 full rooms of carpeting, next day installation, padding, everything, all for just $1,088. 3 rooms, no hidden extras. Now that's the kind of change everyone can afford, and no interest for 1 year. Call National Floors Direct, 888-400-FLOOR. Get 3 rooms of carpeting for just $1,088. We'll bring the store to your door.
The father is...
Background stealing the scene.
The father is you, John.
With Next Gen TV and Dolby, dialogue is crystal clear. Aveeno introduces new daily moisturizing cream. It's clinically proven to moisturize dry skin for 48 hours and instantly strengthens skin's barrier for softer, smoother skin. Aveeno, the power of oat for sensitive skin.
Stroopsdorf is the best service base in Europe.
You're named after a waffle.
Stroopsdorf is known for cheese and laundry.
The only clear and present danger here is that fitted sheet.
We are great at what we do. You guys spot the possums? Ah! We may be a different kind of soldier.
They look like they found Jesus dead in a river.
But we're still soldiers.
Captain Mag! I'll leave him hanging. First guns I've seen on the base.
Going Dutch. Series premiere January 2nd on Fox.
Cozy nights, cannonballs, bubble baths, backup plans. For all the ways you use propane, go with Petro. Our full range of propane services means reliable delivery with no hidden surcharge fees, expert installation and maintenance, and 24/7 live service and support. Go with your local propane pros. Go with Petro. Call today.
Fox 61 Plus. Your news. Your weather. Your traffic. On your schedule. Download Fox 61 Plus on your streaming device and get your news when you need it.
Fox, home of Super Bowl 59.
Now, the latest Fox 61 weather impact forecast.
All right, 4:13 on this Monday morning, the last Monday of 2024. It's kind of crazy to think about.
I know.
And what's even crazier is that we're ending it with some warm and damp weather.
But would it not be 2024 if we didn't have these incredibly mild temperatures out there? Well, and that's what we're having right now. Temperatures are in the 50s again. Yesterday we were in the 50s. We took some golf clubs out yesterday afternoon, kind of was swinging the clubs because it was just so mild out there. 56 degrees, the high temperature in Hartford yesterday, as well as in New Haven. 52 in Groton yesterday afternoon. Moving forward, we do have rain out there now. Rain, some heavy at times. And it is quite breezy this morning, too, with warm conditions, too. Our numbers really haven't fluctuated much over the last 24 hours or so. We do have a drier Tuesday on tap and really even a second half to our Monday. But we are going to remain above average for our Tuesday, so we'll close out 2024 above average, and we will ring in the new year with some rain around, too. Our satellite and radar radar is showing you that we have that rain around. You certainly don't need me to tell you that. You can just look out your window. But here are some pockets of heavier rain if you're driving along 84 this morning towards Southbury and Newtown, also in northwestern Connecticut now. And we will likely see this rain begin to wrap up late morning and into the early afternoon. Here's a look at our numbers. Right now, around 56 degrees in Hartford. It's 57 in Windsor Locks. It's 54 in Vernon. We are much warmer than this time yesterday at 53 degrees in Guilford. And so all of us are in the 50s now at 54 in Groton and 55 in Willimantic. Here's a look at our wind speeds. They're out of the south, and they are incredibly breezy this morning. 10 to 20 mile per hour sustained wind speeds, and looking at our gusts right now, up towards about 30 to 35 miles per hour. So plan for that breeze throughout the morning, and that breeze will last us through the afternoon. I just don't think it will be as gusty once this rain wraps up between about 8 and 10 o'clock this morning. A lingering shower after that is certainly possible. Noticing we break for a little bit of sunshine in the late afternoon and early evening. And take a look at this. Numbers up around 50 degrees at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. So there will be some dry hours where we get to enjoy some mild conditions before we start to see those numbers drop back for Tuesday morning. So for today, our highs will be back up around 57 degrees in Hartford, 55 in New Haven. Tonight, we're down into the 30s. So we do turn sharply colder as we approach tonight and into early tomorrow morning. But tomorrow afternoon, we're back into the lower 50s, around 52 in Hartford, 50 degrees in New Haven. So the last day of 2024 will feature increasing clouds, mild conditions, and then into the evening as we ring in the new year, we will have some rounds of rain, some heavy at times. I do think that if you have any plans for tomorrow night into early Wednesday morning, the later you leave, the better, just because that rain will begin to wrap up. So 5 a.m. on Wednesday, we start to dry out the skies, and then Wednesday features temperatures around 46 degrees. Then we're into the lower 40s for Thursday. We're around 36 on Friday, so we'll gradually start to see those numbers get back to where they should be and slightly below it as we approach this upcoming weekend. Along the shoreline, we're in the mid-50s today, above it for 50 degrees on Tuesday, so above average there, about 10 degrees above it, 48 on Wednesday, and then sliding those numbers to near 40 degrees for Thursday. Time now is 4:16, almost 4:17, and on the roads this morning here, looking at our Hartford drive times, Windsor to the 84 interchange is 3 minutes, New Britain Ave to the Hartford Tunnel is 5. No delays on Route 2 this morning, Kaelee.
All right, Rachel, thank you. Now to a crucial discovery in South Korea. Investigators have recovered the flight data recorder and the cockpit voice recorders in the deadliest plane crash of the last 3 decades. 175 passengers and 4 of the 6 crew died when their Boeing jet crashed on Saturday. Lucas Tomlinson has the latest.
Investigators Sunday began assessing the wreckage of South Korea's deadliest plane crash after a Jeju airliner skidded off the runway, slamming into a concrete barrier, killing 179 people on board. Just 2 crew members survived. Officials investigating the crash say air traffic controllers warned about a bird strike risk minutes before the crash.
A lot of aviation experts are scratching their heads on this one. There is video which seems to indicate they lost their right engine.
It just doesn't explain why the airplane is coming in so hot and with the landing gear in the up position.
The aircraft was a 15-year-old Boeing 737 jet operated by budget Irish airline Ryanair before it was delivered to Jeju Air in 2017. In the U.S., where Boeings are manufactured, the incident is stirring new questions after Boeing planes have made headlines around the world in recent years after a series of quality control incidents. Most notably, the mid-air blowout of a door plug on an Alaskan Airlines flight last January. Aviation experts assessing this latest crash say it appears there was a glitch with the landing gear.
Number one, the gear is not extended. The flaps are not extended, which would indicate that there was a major hydraulic failure of some kind there.
In a statement, Boeing offered support to Jeju Air, adding, quote, "We extend our deepest condolences to the families who lost loved ones, and our thoughts remain with the passengers and crew." In a statement, President Biden offered condolences, saying the U.S. and South Korea share deep bonds of friendship, and offered to assist in any way.
That was Lucas Tomlinson reporting. And it's likely to take months, if not years, to determine why that plane crashed. But since the plane was made in the U.S., the National Transportation Safety Board is also involved in the investigation. Well, 3 people are dead after a hotel caught fire in Thailand's capital city. It happened last night at the Ember Hotel in Thailand. Officials say the flames broke out on the 5th floor and there was heavy smoke. Around 75 people were staying at the hotel at the time. An American man was among those who were killed. 4 other people were taken to the hospital after the fire to be treated for smoke inhalation. No word just yet on what started that fire. Well, Russia's President Vladimir Putin is apologizing for the crash of a plane that was headed to his country. But even though he has apologized, Putin is not accepting blame on behalf of Russian forces that may have been involved in the deadly crash last week. The plane crashed on Christmas Day, killing 38 of the 67 people on board. The flight was diverted, and aviation experts believe it may have come under anti-aircraft fire by Russian forces.
Extensive shrapnel damage, the physical evidence there at the Kazakhstan airport strongly suggests that this aircraft was hit by some kind of anti-aircraft weapon.
And it has called on Russia to accept blame for that plane crash. And there's much more ahead this morning on the Fox 61 News. A strange and scary incident caught on camera after a plane landed at the airport in Seattle. A woman opened the emergency exit door and went out on that wing. That story's next.
Are you tired of your hair breaking after waiting years for it to grow? New Pantene with more pro vitamins plus biotin and collagen repairs as well as the leading luxury bonding brand. Stronger, healthier hair without the $60 price tag. If you know it's Pantene.
Sounds like you need to vaporize that sore throat.
Vapocool drops?
It's sore throat relief with the rush of Vicks Vapors.
Vaporize sore throat pain with Vicks Vapocool drops.
That's right, there are 2 N's.
We're not gonna make it!
Volume catching you by surprise.
That's right, there are 2 N's.
With Next Gen TV and Dolby, there are no more sound surprises.
Get ready. The competition really cooks on the new Fox Thursday.
Get out! Gordon Ramsay, I thought I heard someone shouting obscenities.
Hell's Kitchen ignites with head chefs only.
Head chefs only? Eagles only!
And something was baked here, but has since gone missing. Crime Scene Kitchen is serving up all new delicious mysteries.
If this is what was baked in Crime Scene Kitchen, you ain't going home today.
Gordon and Joel make Thursdays tasty, starting at 8/7 Central on Fox.
Gum problems could be the start of a domino effect. Parodontic's Active Gum Repair Breath Freshener. Clinically proven to help reverse the 4 signs of early gum disease. A toothpaste from Parodontics, the gum experts.
Fox 61 Plus. Your news. Your weather. Your traffic. On your schedule. Download Fox 61 Plus on your streaming device and get your news when you need it. Do you have legal concerns or questions for you or your loved ones? Ask the Attorney with John Heyman, and the lawyers from Heyman Law Firm are here to advise. Watch Ask the Attorney Tuesday morning at 10:58 on Fox 61, Connecticut's news station.
Waiting for the right time to buy a vinyl floor? Well, right now at National Floors Direct, you can get an entire room of luxury vinyl flooring installed the next day for just $788. Just $788. Today, vinyl flooring is luxurious. It looks and feels like real wood, tile, or stone, but it's durable, waterproof, and soft underfoot. Call 888-400-FLOOR and get a luxury vinyl floor from world-famous Shaw with no interest for a full year. Call 888-400-FLOOR and we'll bring the store to your door.
Weather is sponsored by Aiello Home Services, plumbing, heating, air conditioning, and electrical.
Well, a passenger was caught on camera climbing out onto the wing of her plane that had just landed in Seattle. The video shows the moment that she opened the emergency exit door and got out. You could see the door swing open aboard the Alaska Airlines flight. Then the woman gets out and waves someone down to help her. Firefighters responded to help her down from the wing. The woman told airport workers that she had anxiety and couldn't wait to get off the plane. She was taken to a hospital for evaluation. Well, 2 men in the Pacific Northwest who were said to be searching for Sasquatch have been found dead. This happened in a wooded area in Washington state. The county sheriff's office says the 2 men from Portland, Oregon were ages 59 and 37. They didn't return home by Christmas Eve, and that's when relatives reported them missing. A license plate reader helped locate their car near Willard, Washington. The sheriff's department, U.S. Coast Guard, K-9s, drones, and 60 volunteers began to look for them. The men were found dead after a 3-day search in a national forest. Their deaths appear to be due to exposure based on weather conditions and lack of preparedness. And there's still much more ahead on Fox 61 Morning News. In our next half hour, we're looking at the connection that former President Jimmy Carter had to Connecticut from Groton to Hartford as tributes pour in to the 100-year-old who died yesterday. And you'll meet one homeowner whose house was built by Mr. Carter and his team from Habitat for Humanity when Connecticut's news station returns.
Get ready. The competition really cooks on the new Fox Thursday.
Get out! Gordon Ramsay, I thought I heard someone shouting obscenities.
Hell's Kitchen ignites with head chefs only.
Head chefs only? Eagles only.
And
Something was baked here, but has since gone missing.
Crime Scene Kitchen is serving up all new delicious mysteries.
If this is what was baked in Crime Scene Kitchen, you ain't going home today.
Gordon and Joel make Thursdays tasty, starting at 8/7 Central on Fox.
The father is... Background stealing the scene.
The father is you, John.
With Next Gen TV and Dolby, dialogue is crystal clear.
That's right, there are 2 N's.
We're not gonna make it!
Volume catching you by surprise.
That's right, there are 2 N's.
We're not gonna make it!
With Next Gen TV and Dolby, there are no more sound surprises. Make the sound decision and choose Next Gen TV.
Stroopsdorf is the best service space in Europe.
You're named after a waffle.
Stroopsdorf is known for cheese and laundry.
The only clear and present danger here is that fitted sheet.
We are great at what we do. You guys spot the possums? Ah! We may be a different kind of soldier.
They look like they found Jesus dead in a river.
But we're still soldiers.
Captain Maggie! I'll leave him hanging. First guns I've seen on the base.
Going Dutch. Series premiere January 2nd on Fox.
Okay, everyone. Our mission is to provide complete balanced nutrition for strength and energy.
Ensure with 27 vitamins and minerals, nutrients for immune health, and Ensure Complete with 30 grams of protein.
It's time for Bob's Dare to Compare. It's got action. It's got suspense. And more savings than you'll believe. Everyone's a winner when you dare to compare. In store or at mybobs.com.
Dr. Larson was in a car accident.
She can't remember the last 8 years of her life.
What's wrong?
We got divorced.
What? I need to know what happened. A lot happened, Mom.
Now, Dr. Larson is asking questions.
I want to tell her we were together.
If I'm going to get my life back, I need the truth.
Doc, series premiere January 7th on Fox.
Now at 4:30, our Connecticut connection to Jimmy Carter, the 100-year-old former president, is being remembered this morning. We'll trace his journey from the sub-base to Hartford City Hall to the White House. And twisters tore through the southeast this weekend and left death, destruction, and widespread power outages in their wake. And Times Square is ready for the big countdown to 2025. We'll take you to where the biggest New Year's Eve party will take place later this week.
You're watching Fox 61, Connecticut's news station.
Well, the Fox 61 Morning News continues on this Monday morning. Thank you for waking up with us. I'm Kaelee Collins. Well, it's a bit of a damp and kind of warm start to the week this week, the last Monday of 2024. Who would have thought it was going to be like in the 50s, Rachel?
You know, it's true 2024 fashion, that's for
true.
sure, as we've had those mild conditions really for several weeks over the winter. So wet, windy, and warm this morning. That's what we can plan for. So grabbing that umbrella before you head out the door, at least that lighter rain jacket. We'll have those mild conditions that stick with us through the day today and really into the last day of 2024 too. On the satellite radar now you can see that we're scanning the state and we are just soggy all over the place here. So on 91 Wallingford up through Meriden, we have some steadier rain. Morris in northwestern Connecticut up towards Warren as well. So those rain chances continue at least through the late morning. By the afternoon though, we're drying out the skies. We'll get some sunshine in the mix and we'll be able to enjoy a little bit of dry conditions and mild conditions too. Right now we are trending anywhere from 8 to 18 degrees warmer than this time yesterday, with our numbers sitting in the 50s, around 54 degrees in New Haven, 55 in Willimantic. We're watching for some patchy fog this morning. It's not a widespread issue, but reduced visibility is certainly possible as you're hitting the roadways this morning. And we're also very windy. We have winds 10 to 20 miles per hour. These are sustained wind speeds gusting up towards 30 right now in southeastern Connecticut. So plan for the wind, the mild conditions. Those drier skies start to build in late afternoon and early evening. Temperatures holding steady into the 50s before we drop back overnight tonight. This isn't the only opportunity for some rain. We'll have more details on that, what you could expect for New Year's Eve and also New Year's Day. Coming up in just a bit, we'll have those details. 4:30 right now and on the roadways. We're just going to check in with your drive times as we don't have any incidents to tell you about this morning. So over in Hartford to Massachusetts, it's 40 minutes on eastbound 84. New Haven to Rhode Island is 72. That looks pretty good. Northbound 95, no delays 95 south or 84 west as you're heading to New York. Kaelee.
All right, Rachel, thank you. Well, Jimmy Carter, the 39th president of the United States, died at the age of 100 on Sunday. He had spent almost 2 years in hospice care at his home in Plains, Georgia. He lived longer than any other president in U.S. history, and Carter devoted decades of his life to the U.S. Navy and to his former hometown of New London, Connecticut, and the sub base over in Groton as well. Fox 61's Brent Harden looks at Jimmy Carter's connection to Connecticut.
James Earl Carter graduated from Annapolis with distinction on June 5, 1946. He was 22. On that day, 78 years ago, his then-girlfriend Eleanor Rosalind Smith on the left and his mother Lillian on the right penned his ensign labels to his Navy uniform. 1 month later, Jimmy wed Rosalind in their hometown of Plains, Georgia, and his new bride followed the newly minted ensign as he sailed all over the world. She had her hands full raising their 3 sons, Jack, born the next year in Virginia, their second son, Chip, born in Hawaii in 1950, and their third son, Jeff, born in 1952 in Groton. And that's where Midshipman Carter served on the submarine force, not far from Electric Boat, which FDR himself had toured some years earlier. The couple settled in New London, directly across the Thames River. Carter graduated from the sub-training program in December of 1948 and served on submarines fueled by diesel fuel as they patrolled the Pacific Ocean. Midshipman Carter rose in the ranks to serve as executive officer, engineering officer, and electronics repair officer. In 1949, Carter was promoted to lieutenant and served aboard the USS Pomfret. Rosalind herself snapped this photograph. The Carters returned to New London after he was selected for an elite program in Groton, working to design and develop atomic submarines, even leading a team to fix a broken nuclear reactor. It's been said New London was where Rosalind was the happiest. Carter was all set to serve as the engineering officer aboard the USS Seawolf, the nation's second atomic-powered sub, which was under construction just downriver at Electric Boat. But when his father died in July of 1953, Carter resigned his commission and returned home to Plains. He and Rosalind managed the family's farm supply business, which he expanded significantly. The next part of Carter's story is well known, becoming governor and running for president, speaking at Yale in March of 1975, campaigning outside Hartford City Hall in February of 1976, returning to Hartford in April for the state's first ever presidential primary, and twice more in October to campaign alongside Governor Ella Grasso, former Secretary of the State Gloria Schaefer, and State Treasurer Henry Parker, and returning to Groton for a visit to the General Dynamics shipyard. In January of 1977, the Carters moved into the White House with their then 9-year-old daughter, Amy. But Carter's connection to Connecticut held strong throughout his presidency. He returned to the Constitution State to campaign for the re-election of Grasso and her lieutenant governor, future Governor William O'Neill. He stood alongside Grasso and former governor turned U.S. Senator Abraham Ribicoff after signing bills providing $1 billion to help the poor pay their fuel bills, and establishing a Department of Education in 1979. The same year, he brought together Egypt's president and Israel's prime minister for their historic Middle East peace treaty, for which he won the Nobel Peace Prize. 5 years later, now private citizens, the Carters returned to Hartford for a celebration, the launch of WTIC TV, now known as Fox 61. They were guests of honor at the Black Tie Gala celebrating the night our TV station signed on the air September 17th, 1984. Carter joined Arnold Chase, who spearheaded the building of the station, along with Governor Bill O'Neill, actor Eddie Albert of TV's Green Acres, and other luminaries. Carter returned to Connecticut several times to witness the construction and commissioning of the submarine named in his honor. The USS Jimmy Carter started construction in 1996 and was christened in 2004, the last of the Seawolf-class submarines named after the nuclear sub he served on decades earlier. And perhaps, if not for Carter's public support for the New London submarine base, it might not be what it is today. He joined those arguing to retain the base, charting how the closure would impact the entire state of Connecticut through the loss of businesses and jobs. Former U.S. Senator Chris Dodd said he believes a passionate letter Carter wrote to the commission on August 15th of 2005 saved the day and convinced officials to keep the base open. His other cause since leaving the White House, Habitat for Humanity, building more than 4,300 homes alongside his beloved. Both Rosalind and Jimmy entered hospice in 2023. She died in November at the age of 96 after 77 years of marriage, the longest marriage of any presidential couple in American history.
And that was our Brent Harden reporting. Ultimately, President Carter will be buried in Plains, Georgia, next to his wife, Rosalind. But first, there will be a state funeral for him on January 9th, which President Biden has declared will be a national day of mourning. Yesterday, Biden reflected on Carter's legacy.
What I find extraordinary about Jimmy Carter, though, is that millions of people all around the world, all over the world, feel they lost a friend as well, even though they never met him. And that's because Jimmy Carter lived a life measured not by words, but by his deeds. Just look at his life, his life's work. He worked to eradicate disease, not just at home, but around the world. He forged peace, advanced civil rights, human rights, promoted free and fair elections around the world. He built housing for the homeless with his own hands. And his compassion and moral clarity lifted people up and changed lives and saved lives all over the globe.
The president added, quote, "We'd all do well to try to be a little more like Jimmy Carter," end quote. And President-elect Donald Trump posted to his Truth Social website, he wrote, quote, "Those of us who have been fortunate to have served as president understand this is a very exclusive club and only we can relate to the enormous responsibility of leading the greatest nation in history. The challenges that Jimmy faced as president came at a pivotal time for our country, and he did everything in his power to improve the lives of all Americans. For that, we all owe him a debt of gratitude," end quote. And Congressman John Larson issued a statement as well. He said, quote, "Jimmy Carter demonstrated how to be a role model and make a difference in the world even when you leave elective office. He will be deeply missed by so many people he touched around the world," end quote. Representative Johanna Hayes focused on Carter's dedication to Habitat for Humanity. She says, quote, "His work with Habitat for Humanity inspired me to introduce my students to service and has helped build strength, stability, and self-reliance for so many through shelter." And as for Congressman Joe Courtney, he says, quote, "In 2005, when the Navy sought to close submarine base New London, former President Carter stood by Team Connecticut in opposition to a plan which would have moved the base's fleet to his home state of Georgia. His decision to support Team Connecticut in the face of political pressure at home represents the integrity and honor he served with throughout his life," end quote. Courtney added, quote, "Today, Eastern Connecticut maintains our proud role as submarine capital of the world thanks to former President Carter," end quote. And State Senators Martin M. Looney and Bob Duff, both Democrats, say, quote, "Throughout his tenure as president and in the years following his time in office, President Carter demonstrated an unwavering commitment to the welfare of others. His leadership, characterized by humility and empathy, is a testament to the transformative power of serving others," end quote. And as we've been telling you, the former president spent many years working for Habitat for Humanity, building houses for those who couldn't afford one of their own. Brad Broders with our sister station over in Memphis spoke with one homeowner last year after it was announced that Carter was in hospice care.
it was life-changing, and for me, it was once in a lifetime.
Years later, Brandy Hunter still beams with pride as a Habitat for Humanity homeowner in Memphis's uptown neighborhood.
It was a step in the right direction for me.
Hunter is now one of more than 20 homeowners in this transformed community near St. Jude, thanks to a Habitat for Humanity project spearheaded by former President Jimmy Carter and his wife Rosalind in 2015 and 2016.
They were very personable, very warm, very approachable, and most of all, they were just here to work.
And worked they did, putting hammer to nail and giving Memphis families new hope by achieving home ownership.
I think the continued benefits is continued awareness on the need for affordable housing.
President Carter helped elevate our city in a positive way.
Dwayne Spencer is president and CEO of Habitat for Humanity of Greater Memphis. He wrote a letter to President Carter on why Memphis would be an ideal fit for a large build. President Carter not only obliged, but praised the Bluff City in my one-on-one interview with him in August 2016.
And last November, we came here and checked on the Habitat organization here. We found it's one of the best in the United States. They do a wide range of services for poor people and older people.
Now, with the 98-year-old former president in his second week of home hospice care in Georgia, Hunter is thinking about his family and reflecting on his humanitarian achievements on these blocks and beyond.
I think his legacy is this neighborhood. He has done things all over the world. Obviously, he's been president. But in this city, this neighborhood is his legacy, and all of the people who were able to make steps in the right direction, that's part of his legacy.
And our thanks to Brad Broders of our sister station in Memphis for sharing that report. And you can learn more about Jimmy Carter's impact and achievements by heading to our website, fox61.com, and our free app as well. Well, at least 4 people are dead after severe weather hit the southeast. Storms left homes destroyed, trees down, and roads blocked. There were reports of at least 45 tornadoes across at least 5 states. One woman in Texas says a tornado ripped the roof off of her second-story house where her son and a roommate had been sleeping.
They were right here on the bed, yes.
So all of this came down?
All of this came down on them. All of this.
And were they able to crawl out from under it?
Yeah, they were yelling and everything, but they finally got it off.
Some scary stuff there. Crews with the National Weather Service will survey the damage to confirm each reported tornado. Well, as New Year's Eve approaches, we're taking a look back at 2024. Among the most consequential events has been the war in Gaza, where it stands and which groups became involved. And this year also saw a historical electoral comeback for Donald Trump. A look back at the election season that was anything but predictable. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stroopsdorf is the best service base in Europe.
You're named after a waffle.
Stroopsdorf is known for cheese and laundry.
The only clear and present danger here is that fitted sheet.
We are great at what we do. You guys spot the possums? We may be a different kind of soldier.
You look like they found Jesus dead in a river.
But we're still soldiers.
Captain Maggie! I'll leave him hanging. First guns I've seen on the base.
Going Dutch. Series premiere January 2nd on Fox.
Nursing homes throughout Connecticut have been fined for injuries because of a lack of proper care. We have a dedicated team of attorneys to help your loved ones who are victims of abuse. Some nursing homes ignore their patients. They can't ignore us.
At Litchfield Hills Orthopedic, your health and wellness is our top priority. Whether you need care for your hand, spine, shoulder, foot, or ankle, have a sports injury, or total joint issues, we're here for you with same-day appointments and access to all specialties under one roof. Make an appointment today at one of our 2 convenient locations in Bristol and Torrington. You can live without the pain. Start the journey to healing with Litchfield Hills Orthopedic. Contact us today.
Welcome to Nissan. Are you interested in
test drive?
Absolutely.
There's the all-new Kicks, the new V6-powered Frontier, and the Nissan Rogue. Consumer Guide's Best Buy 10 years in a row.
Finished with all your holiday shopping?
We are now.
Hurry in to the Nissan year-end sales event. Now get a low $239 per month lease or get 0% APR financing for 60 months on Rogue.
The
future of television has arrived. Next Gen TV is here. Immerse yourself in stunning video. Feel the power of movie theater quality sound and consistent volume across channels. Get the most out of live coverage with enhanced internet content. Next Gen TV, designed to be upgradable with the advancements of tomorrow. The future of television has arrived. Learn more at watchnextgentv.com.
Do you like fun? Give Keno a try. Drawings every 4 minutes. Wins at your fingertips. When these exhibitions of unpredictable happiness come to an end...
Hello. I will play what they're playing.
Another drawing is just moments away. Play Keno from the Connecticut Lottery today. Keno, yeah.
Fox 61 Plus. Your news. Your weather. Your traffic. On your schedule. Download Fox 61 Plus on your streaming device and get your news when you need it.
The latest news, weather, and traffic from your hometown all morning long.
Now, the latest Fox 61 weather impact forecast.
4:45 on this Monday morning. We're almost at the end of 2024. I can't really believe it. And we're kind of going out with some typical 2024 weather.
Yeah, in true
Something
2024 fashion, we are certainly going to be a little soggy. Now, something we didn't have a lot of was the rain, but we're certainly making up for that deficit as we have more rain showers out there this morning. It was a soggy weekend and more of the same to start this week. So rain, some heavy at times this morning, and breezy and warm now, too. We have gusts towards about 30 miles per hour right now. And so you can expect to see a little bit of a breeze carry us through this today into this evening, and mild conditions too. As we approach our Tuesday, it's going to be drier, still above average, but rain to ring in the new year, and that will linger into the first day of 2025. On our satellite radar, you can see some of the heaviest rain now pocketed over northwestern Connecticut, over towards Litchfield County now, over near Plymouth, as well as Morris, Litchfield, and Farmington, Watertown, as well as Waterbury, seeing a little bit of rain as well. Temperatures out there this morning, 56 degrees in Hartford, 55 in Windsor, it's 57 degrees in Windsor Locks, 54 in Vernon. All of us are in the 50s now at 54 degrees in East Haven. Just plan for the soggy conditions and also those mild conditions too. Here's a look at our wind speeds. 8 to about 20 miles per hour right now, and these are our sustained wind speeds, so we're gusting higher than that, towards about 30 miles per hour for the most part, so plan for that breeze over the course of the morning. Once that rain wraps up between about 8 and 9 o'clock this morning, I do think that we'll gradually start to see the winds improve. It's still going to be breezy. I just don't think we'll see those gusts towards about 30 to 35 towards the late afternoon and early evening. Here's 10 a.m. We're around 55 degrees, drying out the sky. Some sunshine comes out, and then we'll gradually start to see those numbers dip back into the 30s overnight tonight. So for today, we're in the 50s for our highs. Tonight, we're down into the 30s. So we are going to turn sharply colder overnight tonight into early tomorrow. Tomorrow afternoon, we're in the lower 50s. So we're closing out 2024 above average. You'll also see increasing clouds ahead of what will be that rising chance for rain. As that ball is dropping, it does look like it will be a bit soggy out our windows over the course of Tuesday night into early Wednesday morning. Wednesday morning, here's 5 a.m. with temperatures around 40 degrees, so we'll start off pretty mild as we approach Wednesday. Wednesday afternoon in the mid-40s, so that's above average. Into the 40s for Thursday. We're drier as we head into this upcoming weekend. Sunshine around too, but we're colder too. 35 degrees on Saturday, 32 on Sunday. Along the shoreline, the 50s today, near 50 for tomorrow as well. We'll watch for that rain Tuesday night into early Wednesday. Time now is 4:48 on the roads this morning here. We don't have any incidents to tell you about. Road work not out there this morning either. Live look outside over in Waterbury this morning, showing you that is rather light with the volume there, with your drive times from 18 to 25, about 5 minutes. Kaelee.
All right, Rachel, thank you. Well, 2024 was a year for the record books, from record-breaking rainfall and floods to hurricanes and a historic presidential election. Fox 61's Bridget Biorlo takes a look back at part 2 of the top stories that shaped our year.
The war in the Middle East is still raging and expanding over the past 12 months. Israel took the fight directly to Hamas leadership and killed a political leader in July and a military leader a few months after that. Then on their northern front, Israel took out the leader of Iranian-backed Hezbollah and then sent troops into Lebanon. But in December, both sides came together for a tentative ceasefire that could lead to a long-term peace settlement. Another world conflict that expanded in 2024, the war in Ukraine. After months of bloody stalemates, in August, Ukraine shocked Russia and the world by invading Russian territory. It's the first time foreign troops have done that since World War II. Running short on troops, Russian President Vladimir Putin cut a deal with North Korean leader Kim Jong-un, who sent about 10,000 soldiers to fight alongside the Russian army. That move prompted President Biden to authorize the use of long-range American missiles against targets deep inside Russia. Russian leaders responded with an advanced missile attack on Ukraine. The 2024 Atlantic hurricane season left a trail of destruction, casualties, and massive economic losses. Early in September, Hurricane Francine made landfall in Louisiana and brought extensive flooding to the Gulf Coast. Just 3 weeks later, Hurricane Helene slammed into the Florida Big Bend area as a Category 4 storm. But hundreds of miles inland, North Carolina was especially hit hard. Helene caused more than $120 billion worth of damage and at least 234 deaths, making it the deadliest hurricane to strike the U.S. mainland since Katrina in 2005. Then, 9 days later, Category 5 Hurricane Milton became the second most intense Atlantic hurricane ever to hit the U.S. and caused major flooding and heavy damage throughout Florida and Georgia. 2024's biggest story was the presidential election. Donald Trump won the Republican field and claimed the GOP nomination for the third time in a row. The stage was set for another Trump-Biden showdown, but everything changed in June when the candidates met for the first debate.
I've been able to do with the COVID, with dealing with everything we have to do with. Look, if we finally beat Medicare.
Thank you, President Biden.
Almost immediately, prominent Democrats started calling for the president to drop out of the race. Then the campaign trail was rocked in July.
What happened?
An assassin shot at Trump during an outdoor rally in Butler, Pennsylvania. He became the first candidate to be shot on the campaign trail since 1972. 8 days later, Biden announced he was dropping out, the first sitting president not to seek re-election in more than 50 years. He endorsed his vice president, Kamala Harris, and the Democratic Party rallied around her heading into November. In the end, Trump was declared the winner after earning the popular vote for the first time in 3 tries. On January 20th, he will become the second president in American history to serve 2 non-consecutive terms. Bridget Bjorlo, Fox 61, Connecticut's news station.
Thanks, Bridget. Well, we all know that Times Square will be buzzing with New Year's Eve celebrations this week, and there's a lot of work that goes into that. What organizers have done to prepare for one of the main events to welcome the new year.
Welcome to Nissan. Are you interested in
test drive?
Absolutely. There's the all-new Kick, the new Frontier, and the Nissan Rogue. Hurry in to the Nissan year-end sales event. Now get a low $239 per month lease on Rogue.
Slow, clogged, backed up? Don't worry. ALO Home Services has you covered. For only $93, our technician will clear any drain in your home. And if it can't be cleared, it's free. Call, click, or text today and say, hello, ALO.
This is music to your ears. Join many of your favorite players January 11th celebrating 50 years of hockey in Hartford. The day includes the world premiere of the film The Whalers. And make sure you come early to the Wolfpack game for a roof-raising pregame celebration on the ice. The Whale is back. For tickets, visit HartfordWolfpack.com. For a whale of a celebration January 11th, get your tail here.
Fox, home of Super Bowl 59.
The latest news, weather, and traffic from your hometown all morning long.
Fox 61, Connecticut's news station, on air, online, and on demand.
Fox 61 Plus. Your news, your weather, your traffic on your schedule. Download Fox 61 Plus on your streaming device and get your news when you need it.
The father is... Background stealing the scene. The father is you, John. With Next Gen TV and Dolby, dialogue is crystal clear.
And that's right, there are two N's.
We're not gonna make it! Volume catching you by surprise.
And that's right, there are two N's.
We're not gonna make it! With Next Gen TV and Dolby, there are no more sound surprises. Make the sound decision and choose Next Gen TV.
Gum problems could be the start of a domino effect. Periodontic's Active Gum Repair Breath Freshener. Clinically proven to help reverse the 4 signs of early gum disease. A toothpaste from Periodontics, the gum experts.
Welcome to Nissan. Are you interested in
test drive?
Absolutely.
There's the all-new Kick, the new Frontier, and the Nissan Rogue. Hurry in to the Nissan year-end sales event. Nissan offers 6 vehicles with starting MSRP under $30,000.
Back here now, 4:55 on this Monday morning. Well, if you need plans on New Year's Eve and you don't mind a trip up 91, the Hartford Wolfpack will be on the road up in Springfield to take on the Thunderbirds. This weekend they lost to the Providence Bruins at home 4-1. The Wolfpack fan cam was out in full force though. This is a look at some of the pics taken at the game, and you can see if yours made the cut by heading to fox61.com. Well, the countdown to New Year's Eve is on in Midtown Manhattan, and this weekend, organizers tested the confetti ahead of the celebrations.
3, 2, 1, Happy New Year!
Lots of fun there. That was just a small sample of the 3,000 pounds of confetti set to be released at midnight on New Year's Eve. The confetti will include thousands of wishes from people who submitted them at the New Year's Eve wishing wall in Times Square. Wishes sent online through the virtual wishing wall will also be included in pieces of confetti. Yeah, I've never been to Times Square on New Year's Eve. I don't know how many of you may have done that. I think it takes some tenacity to be able to endure, you know, maybe not being able to go to the bathroom for a couple hours, but it certainly is very exciting. So let us know if you've ever, you know, taken the trip over to Times Square to celebrate and ring in the new year there. Well, that's all for us this morning. Thanks for being with us for the Fox 61 Morning News at 4. Much more is ahead at 5. A well-lived life, that's what many have said when they remember former President Jimmy Carter. More on his life and legacy as a humanitarian for the world. And former President Carter had strong ties to Connecticut. We sit down with a Quinnipiac University professor who got a chance to meet the former president.